Okay, hello friends. Today we have Ravindranath with us. He's having 11 plus total IT experience, and from last 4.5 years he is working as a Scrum Master. And today's interview questions are some of the common interview questions which we gathered from our WhatsApp group, where most of our team member post their questions. So we have gathered a couple of quick questions from there, and Ravi is going to help us today with answering those questions. So Ravi, welcome. And why don't you tell us about yourself first?
First of all, thank you so much, man, for giving me this opportunity to let know the other people that that I am there in the world to make sure that I'm an active Scrum Master in the Agile world. Yeah. So to start with, I myself Ravindranath Savali, and I have got, as you told, 11 plus years of experience, out of which I've got close to 5 years of experience as a Scrum Master. And I've got an opportunity to work with different cultured people in different countries like South Africa, Johannesburg, and London, UK, and of course India, wherein I could see clearly how is their approach towards the Scrum and their adoption to it, whether they have literally implemented the Scrum only for the namesake, or they're really getting the value of using the Scrum in their projects. So I could see the very difference between different people, as I said, in South Africa, Johannesburg, London, or UK and in India. So I think I have got the varied experience in being involved myself in different domains like telecom, insurance, fintech, banking, and it gave me that huge opportunity to work with those different cultured people, wherein I've got the sensibilities of them to how to talk to them as a Scrum Master, because he's the person who should be maximum talking to those guys, and then helping them understand why I am there here to run the business in a more smoother way. I think yeah, that is pretty much about myself.
Okay, thanks, Ravi. So shall we start? If you allow?
Definitely, definitely.
Okay. So the very first question is on user story. Uh, what is a user story? It's a very basic question, but then you can explain. You can take your time and you can explain a different aspect of a user story.
Yeah.
And on a follow up to that question, like how we can slice or dice the user story to deliver a better value to the end customer. So that's the
Yeah.
very first question, Ravi.
Yeah, sure. So generally, while doing the general development in the software, when you're developing any product, we have got probably if you go back 10 years or 11 years back, we have got only waterfall or traditional projects into the picture, and then where you see when you start the project in January, and then you commit yourself to deliver the product at the December, and only by the end of the December the client is going to see your end result, right? Now we have got the beautiful concept of the Agile frameworks or the Scrum frameworks into the picture, and wherein you see the frequent releases going into the market. By frequent releases, it can be 1 month or 3 months based on your the customization of the project. How do you deliver the entire that piece of the release into the market just in 3 months? There should be some beautiful mechanism for it. That's when we have got the Scrum framework into the picture, which is the most widely used framework, and wherein to be precise to the point, we have got user stories being written by the product owner, and also user story is the smallest unit of work being developed by the respective the Scrum team, in which we have got the development team, who are the persons who is going to develop it based on the understanding from the product owner when he is giving the explanation. It can be in two sessions. One is in the backlog refinement session, along with the sprint planning, suitable for that respective project. So that is the background of the user story, and why we should use the user story is because that is the smallest possible piece of work that can be developed and taken by any respective individual in the Scrum team, rather than just taking some piece of work. Like for example, Sita, you just work on this fruit. I don't know what is that fruit is all about. That's when if you call fruit as an epic, I need to know what kind of fruit I'm working on. If you can take an example, like there is a fruit, and you can call that, if my mother is asking, go get a fruit in the market, I should ask, what kind of fruit do you need? Do you need apple? Do you need banana? Or do you need any other fruit? Then in that fruit, I need to have specifically, you take an apple, then I need to ask her, do you need a red apple or a green apple? If you just correlate this structure with the Scrum framework structure, you can call that fruit as an epic, right? And this apple as a feature. And then you can call it the red apple or a green apple as a respective user stories. This is all about the user stories, right? And how do you slice it? It's very important for all of us to know how do you really slice it there, rather than just taking the user story and then being worked on it. That's when the Scrum Master will come into the picture if product owner doesn't know how to slice it. There is a beautiful concept of spider concept. We have got good number of options, rather than 20-30 options we have got, out of which the famous topic would be the spider. And if we go with the spider, S stands for spike, P stands for path, and I stands for interface, D for data, and R for rules. Spike is something which is really an unknown territory for all the group members in the Scrum team, and then that's when the senior developer would take the responsibility of the spike, and then he would research on that and come up with some conclusion. Hey boss, I'm done with my conclusion. Can you, see this? I think I've come up with some good technology that can be used for this spike. That is when we will have the group discussion among the Scrum team, and product owner will take the inputs from him, and then he would create a beautiful user story out of it, and then he would project it to the whole Scrum team in the next sprint based on the priority again. And coming to the paths, for example, now we are in the pandemic world, right? Everybody will not be getting a chance to go out and then purchase in person. That's when we have got more e-commerce websites wherein you go purchase some Apple phone, Android phone, all those things, and you need to purchase and you need to give some amount to it. That's when you're paying it, right? How do you pay it? You can pay through the platform wallet, you can pay through cash, or you can pay through the whatever the wallet you have bought. Also, those mediums can be the respective user stories for that matter, and you can slice through these functionalities, like the Paytm wallet or the Airtel wallet or through cash. Those are good mediums. This is about paths. And if you come to interface, when doing the product development, we'll be using developing a lot of interfaces, right? When, for example, if you take any mobile, we have got Android and iOS. And if you take any desktop, you have got Windows and Mac and Linux. And when it comes to web development, we have got Chrome, Edge, Safari, all those things. So combination of all these interfaces can be segregated or sliced into different user stories, right? And the next part would be data. For example, I'm a person who I want to book a cab. I should know within how much distance there is a taxi. So there would be some purpose for me where I'm standing on the road. I would filter the taxis based on the distance. That can be one user story. And you can then other story could be the rating of the driver. And another story could be the brand of the car. It can be BMW, Range Rover, or the Rolls Royce, right? So that is all about the data. And coming to the last part, which is the rules. So I'm the same person again, standing in front of my apartment, and then I'm ordering or booking a cab. And every 1 hour, I'm trying to book a cab, and it is getting cancelled because of some good reason or because of my network issue, right? That could be one user story. And the second user story could be best if the same thing is getting repeated for a month. For example, the management would see the behavior of that particular feature. Then they will come up with some business rules. Let us come up with some business rule wherein I'll have the filter for this person that he can book a cab only for in an hour. He can book a cab for one time. That is a business rule. So based on these rules also, you can probably definitely slice the user story. So that is all about the user story and the slicing part of it.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ravi, for that elaborated answer. Great. Okay, shall we move on to the other one?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. So this is again a widely asked question, like how you can work with the team members who are not cooperating well or who are not attending your Scrum events. So would you like to share some thought on that, Ravi?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is the most common problem which we see on the ground, whether we are going into office or also in the virtual world. I think we have got our own problems in office, wherein they say I'm in lift and then I'm coming to the stand up. Nowadays, we are there. They have got beautiful excuses in terms of saying that my network is bad. All those things. Those things are really good. But coming to the actual scenario of the problem, wherein if the person is not definitely attending the Scrum events, there would be some definite purpose to it, wherein my approach would be talking to the respective team member, not in the team, but talk to him on one-on-one basis, understand him that what is your the ground problem or the root problem that you are not attending any Scrum event. There would be some good reasons for if he is having any health problem, all those things, that is well and good. If he is having any skill issue, then definitely we need to train him to, and then make sure that he's contributing to the team. Second thing, if he's having any will issue, attitude issue, any character issue, then definitely if that needs to be groomed by multiple sessions. If at all he's not, if at all he's coming into our line, then if he's understanding us and if he's in tune with the respective scrum team, then definitely he'll be contributing much more to the team. In the worst case scenario, if he's not, probably he's like adamant guy, like I whatever I see, if I say red color is red color and we know it is a black color, then definitely we can take him and then probably escalate him to the higher management to make sure that the other the Scrum team members are not spoiled with his attitude. And also the other point would be the that is what I have really implemented in my earlier projects, where him you try to make him understand that what are the consequences of not attending any Scrum event for that matter. If I don't attend any daily stand-up, daily stand-up is not the place where you go and tell the daily status update. That is a place where you go and talk about the sprint goal. Are we on track on the on are we on track or not? And then if I am not on track and if I miss it, what would be the consequence? And if I don't attend any sprint planning session, that would be the first planning session in the sprint, and then based on which you are going to work on it. And if you don't attend to it, what is the consequence of it? Likewise, if you try to make him teach, or tell him that what are the consequences of not attending any event, therein he understands the seriousness of, or the loss of not attending any Scrum events, right? Wherein he might not get the real inputs of his doubts, or he might not be able to understand the user story wherein he needs to get the insights of it. So those are the beautiful things where he definitely misses it. So upon coaching him in these two scenarios, I think definitely he should be in a good position at the end of the day to be in the team or out of the team.
Thanks, Ravi, for that. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so again, this is mostly asked how Scrum Master can help product owner to make his life or his job better. So what Scrum Master can do, to, yeah.
Yeah, I think there are two good different approaches for this also. Definitely, before jumping on to talking to the respective product owner, one should have the understanding of what is the background of the product owner, whether he has taken the job as a fresher, because I see these days, with 2 years experience, 3 years experience, people are coming and portraying them as a product owner, wherein I definitely see that they need to understand their domain and all. I see they need to have the domain knowledge better, having and also they need to understand what is that project is all about, right? And then we can train him on how to write any user story and how to slice it, how to prioritize the product backlog. That is one case. Like there would be other seasoned product owners where they have got real good experience in the product owner side, wherein we have got different approaches to this. The first approach would be, for the first case is, you try to train him and coach him or her, saying that this is all about the user story. We are in the Scrum project and you are the value maximizer for the business, and we are here to support you, and in turn you support us, and then as a Scrum team we are delivering the beautiful value to the end customer. And then when they are writing any user stories, we should tell them that you, and then when they're bringing all the user stories to this sprint, we tell him that you bring us only the prioritized user stories. which are giving the value to the end customer, rather than just taking the dump of the user stories because I've got the good backlog. Let me dump everything on your face. That is first case, right? Second case, to talk with the seasoned product owner, is that also talk to him or her, understand what is the background of it. Do they really understand this Scrum, or do they really understand what is their role is all about? Or just taking because I've got the requirements, you need to develop some login page of a bank portal and then you do it. There should be some beautiful meaning of what exactly you're doing. So that's when you have the basic conversation with him and try to make him understand that. Also tell him that, because this is a common point, you come up with some the beautiful user stories which are giving the value to it. I'm a product owner, I'm a Scrum master, and you are the development team. So as a team, we are a Scrum team, giving the beautiful increment to the product to the end customer. That itself it matters a lot, other than contributing separately. And then if at all they are getting any doubts, rather than they approaching you, Scrum master, I feel definitely should be proactive enough in approaching these guys, and have the regular interaction to make sure that they are having enough user stories with them, along with the prioritized ones. And also and one more thing is, instead of not wasting time at the sprint planning, you can have probably 2-3 days before, you can have the backlog refinement session to make sure that all the user stories are groomed and well defined, and that it is meeting the definition of ready, and we are good to go, so that you are lessening your time in this sprint planning, and you can finish your sprint planning probably in 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour. And also this probably saves a lot of time, wherein in the practical world people will come up with this problem, saying that we are having a good number of meetings, can you cut it short? This is also the best way to do it. And one final point is, when if you want to say that we are having a good Scrum team and we are having a good product backlog, how do you say it is, if you have got a good healthy backlog of 2 sprints, for example, for the upcoming 2 sprints, you have got already groomed, refined user stories in your product backlog. I will take them in and keep it in the sprint backlog as and when it is required based on the customer's need. I might take out, and I might bring in another user story into the sprint as a scope creep, those things will really happen in the ground world. So I think that's when I think you can categorize these guys into 2, and then based on that we can coach him, make sure that we as a Scrum team delivering the best value to it.
Okay, thanks, Ravi, for that. Okay, so this one is again widely asked. 9 out of 10 chances is that this particular question will be there in your interview. So this question is like, as a Scrum Master, how you can help your Scrum team to remove impediments, issues, or challenges. So if you want to share some of the examples along with this answer, Ravi, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. I think as a primary responsibility when a Scrum Master, when he's introduced to any new team, rather than just dumping yourself and then throwing your attitude and character into the team, that I've got 10 good best practices in my backlog, I'll just rub it on your faces. That is not a good practice at all. Rather than that, I think you can be a silent observer in the starting phase. It can be 1 week or 2 weeks, or you can be a silent observer in your daily stand-up calls for 1 week or for 1 sprint, and observe the environment around the team, and have the you can check how is the health of the team, and also you can gradually know what is their assessment, what is their maturity in the Scrum, and do they really know about the Scrum or not. You probably have these points noted upon your observations on a daily, and then you make them noted, and then take those notes and prepare your own presentation. And then before starting any new sprint, I would definitely prefer that particular Scrum Master go talk to this entire Scrum team along with the product owner, and then tell them that these are my observations. If you carefully see, we can say as a loopholes, wherein if we correct it, rather than looking these things at the retrospective after 2 weeks again, we are losing time. Rather than happening like that, when we focus on these points, then definitely those points can be taken into the consideration, and we can close the loopholes for the betterment of our current Scrum team. It's not that these are the only 10 points I've captured. These are my observations in the first sprint. As and when I am in touch with you guys on a daily basis, definitely I would see there would be some definitely any roadblockers for your work to be delivered. I would definitely come into the picture to eradicate all those problems or blockers or impediments which you are facing. It's not that I am the only person who is having as like a front runner in the team. As a scrum team, we should be self organized to ensure that the problems are internally resolved, rather than going to the scrum master every time and waiting only for the next day morning and saying that, hey scrum master, I'm having a problem with my database. Don't do that. So those would be real time problems, and the solution would be, have we have got when we are in the scrum, we are, I call the scrum values as a beautiful weapons to it. Use those weapons and take the advantage of scrum values. For example, courage. If you see that I'm from Bitsparani, I'm just passed out guy, and you see your tech lead who is a full stack developer having 15 years experience. There is no hierarchy as such in the scrum. That is the beauty of the scrum. That's when you use this as a weapons, and then have the courage to go talk to your product owner, go talk to your tech lead. Hey boss, I'm not understanding this. Can you explain it in a further detailed manner so that I can take those insights, and that will help me to deliver the best work. So that way, you should have the beautiful relationship between the scrum team. That's when you build the trust first, rather than imposing your best practices. You build the trust first and have the empathy towards your team. And there should be a position at the end of the day that you are ready to talk to them at any matter. And also they should also go come to you and talk to you. Hey scrum master, I have this problem. Rather than talking about the problems, they also should have the beautiful bondage as a scrum team. See, at the end of the day, we are doing the service to the project. On top of it, we are a humans. We should have the human values, and we should build a common understanding, and we should talk on a common language. I think this would be this would be the starting point for any scrum master when he is joining in a new team.
Okay, thanks, Ravi, for that. Okay, let's move on to the other one. So, how you can convince or show the effectiveness of Scrum to the higher management? How you going to convince them that they have to use Scrum in their project, in their organizations?
Yeah, great, Sunam. That's an interesting question. I think definitely I would say, when a scrum master, when he is doing his job at the scrum team level, it can be one or two, right? Unfortunately, that the people are doing like 3, 4, and 5. But ideally, to say, if the scrum master is doing his job, his best work at the team level, I think he needs to scale up himself and go talk to the organization, higher management. That, for example, if I am getting the reaping benefits of the adoption of the scrum, in terms of adopting the scrum, we have got these many benefits. Like how you tell them is, for example, we have got a minimum viable product which is getting released as the which is getting released as the releases into the market. For example, for every 3 months you are going to release one minimum viable product. Therein you are getting the benefits of the faster ROI, return on investment. Along with that, there is faster time to market. And also on the fourth point would be, you are on the same page with the end customer, and simply you can say you are having the alignment between the end customer and the respective company who has taken the project, and the people who are doing the work. Everybody should be on the same page. And at the end, you overall you can say you are bringing the organizational agility, that you guys are there on the roadmap, on the product, and you can have your own footprint on the world. So these things are definitely the primary points where you can definitely talk to the higher management, where I have really practiced this in terms of showcasing these points to talk to the higher management, to convince them that, okay, if you adopt these points, adopt the scrum, definitely with these points we can move ourselves as a good organization with with the quality we are producing. That would be that we can showcase as both the company as well as the organization where you are trying to deliver the good quality product. Yeah, that's it, I think, on this topic.
Okay, thanks, Ravi. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So, as a Scrum Master, when you join any new organization or any new Scrum team, what should do you do, right? For let's say for 1 week or 1 month or 2 months. You have anything in your mind, Ravi? Few initial things which a Scrum Master need to do.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. If you are joining any new Scrum team or any new organization for that matter, you can definitely, as I said, you need to, first thing is you need to observe the team. You need to understand the environment of the team, and you need to make sure that are they really following the Scrum? Do they really have the understanding of Scrum? Or what is their maturity assessment on the Scrum? So taking these points into consideration, one would definitely, before imbibing all those 10 best practices, I'm just using the random word called 10. Rather than imposing those 10 best practices, he needs to wait for some good time. And then for the initial 30 days where he can be a silent observer, and also in the background, he can prepare his own presentations or the observation points that would definitely be useful for the Scrum Master to remember, and also that would be more effective to the higher management, that these are my observations for this particular Scrum team, wherein I want to bring in these changes slowly. And the beauty of the changing the team, right? You should focus on that particular situation, that the fifth change would be more appropriate for me to bring in at this point of time for the effectiveness of the situation, so that that would be used in the practice, rather than just okay, I want to introduce retrospective, I'll introduce the retrospective at the end of the sprint. You need to really see that is it really needed for you to conduct the retrospective, not that you are doing it for namesake. What I definitely feel is you need to have the value for every Scrum event, because there are events you are doing it for the namesake, that is good for nothing. If you want to imbibe any good change, look for that or apt situation, and then you bring in that change for the effectiveness. And slowly, if you do it for the first 90 days, I think any good change upon the survey, I see any good change, if you want to really see it in the practice, it would really take from 30 days to 90 days. You need to have the patience first as a Scrum Master, and then you need to have the very good attentive skills. And you need to listen to the Scrum team as well as to the management, and then you can bring in your own changes or the points to either to the Scrum team or the management, so that as a whole unit, as a whole organization, we are delivering the best value to the customer.
Okay, I think we are done for today, Ravi. So yeah, I think yes, we are done for today, Ravi. So thanks a lot for your time and sharing your thoughts with all of us. I hope people will learn a lot from your session. And the way you have given a couple of examples are really good. So I would say, uh, Ravi, see you in next session very soon. Thanks for
Thank
your
you so
time.
much. Thank you so much for the opportunities, man. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a nice day.